Over 500,000 players played this game on day one of release. And that's just on Steam. Steam, PlayStation Store, Xbox Pass, everything crashed. But why? What's so special about this game that drove people insane for it? And how did a game made by just 3 people shake the entire gaming industry? To understand that, we need to go back to where it all began. 1. The beginning, a game jam idea. In 2013, Ari Gibson and William Pellin decided to participate in the Ludum Dare Game Jam. Like every competition, this one also had a theme: 10 seconds. They had just 48 hours to create a game based on that theme. So they made a simple top-down game called Hungry Night. The concept was simple, short, action-packed, and creative. Even though Team Cherry didn't win the competition, they realized something powerful. The design and gameplay had huge potential. This small project carried the foundation of what would later become Hollow Knight. A bug warrior, a dark insect world, and a haunting sense of exploration and desperation. 2. Forming Team Cherry. After the game jam, both friends decided to pursue the idea further. In 2014, they officially formed their studio, Team Cherry. Their goal was simple: turn Hungry Night into a full 2D Metroidvania game. That's what they grew up playing and loved the most. But as with any indie studio, the journey wasn't easy. Eventually, they ran out of money. They even mortgaged their house just to keep development alive. 3. The Kickstarter success. With no options left, they turned to crowdfunding. In 2014, just months after forming the studio, they launched a Kickstarter campaign for Hollow Knight. Their goal was $35,000 Australian dollars. But to their surprise, they raised $57,000 AUD. That extra funding allowed them to expand the game. More levels, enemies, quests, and even a second playable character. This funding would later become the key reason why Silksong existed at all. 4. The first release and failure. After years of development, Hollow Knight finally released in 2017 on PC. But surprisingly, it flopped. No one cared about it initially. The backlash was strong, and the game went largely unnoticed. However, things were about to change. The turning point came when the game launched on the Nintendo Switch. 5. The rise on Nintendo Switch. See, Hollow Knight's nature is deeply explorative. A game you sit with for hours, discovering hidden areas and secrets. But not everyone wants to sit in front of a PC for 8 hours straight. The Switch changed everything. It allowed people to explore Hallownest while sitting on a couch, lying in bed, or traveling. And that's when the game exploded in popularity. It spread like wildfire. Team Cherry's only plan after that was to expand the game, release free DLCs, new soundtracks, boss fights, and new stages. But that's where something unexpected happened. Their idea to add more content eventually gave birth to Hollow Knight. Silksong. 6. The birth of Silksong. Remember that Kickstarter funding? That's where it all started. During development, they added a second character, Hornet. Originally, Team Cherry just wanted to make a small DLC featuring Hornet, a short adventure with one new level and a boss fight. But as time passed, they realized this wasn't just DLC material. This was an entirely new game. And so, Hollow Knight, Silksong was born. 7. The announcement. On February 14, 2019, Team Cherry dropped a bombshell. They announced Silksong, a full-fledged sequel featuring a new world, new characters, new quests, and evolved combat. The internet exploded with excitement. Fans were thrilled. Then, Team Cherry went silent. For the next 5 years. 8. The Great Silence. It wasn't that they didn't want to talk about the game. They simply wanted to focus on development. They believed that every hour spent on marketing was an hour taken away from improving the game. But this silence created a massive void in the gaming community. People kept waiting, speculating, and hoping. Then, finally, the day came. 9. The massive launch. On August 21, 2025, Team Cherry uploaded a video on their official YouTube channel. It broke the 5-year silence. Within hours, it spread all over the internet. But people weren't talking about gameplay or graphics. They were shocked because the game was releasing in just 2 weeks. Developers around the world panicked. Indie devs with upcoming releases had to delay their games, because Silksong's release was set to overshadow everything. Then came September 4th, 2025, the historic day. At 12 a.m. IST, Team Cherry launched the game across all platforms. Millions rushed to buy and play it instantly. And chaos began. Steam crashed. Xbox crashed. Nintendo servers froze for 3 days. Everything went down. Over 500,000 concurrent players were recorded on Steam alone, the highest for any 2D game in history. 10. The impact. Once the storm settled, the world paused to appreciate what had happened. The most hyped indie game ever was priced at just $20, and in some regions, as low as $8 or 800 Indian rupees in India. And here's the most astonishing part. The entire thing was made by just 3 people with a budget of under $1 million. The years of silence, the sudden 2-week release window, and the sheer player anticipation had created a cultural phenomenon that even billion-dollar companies couldn't replicate. The game launched without DRM. No copy protection, no performance drag. Team Cherry trusted their community and didn't want anything to ruin the player experience. Silksong isn't just a game. It's a landmark event in indie gaming. It broke the internet and set new standards for what small developers can achieve. Conclusion. This game didn't just entertain. It inspired. It proved that passion, not budget, defines greatness. If you want to know why indie games are often better than AAA titles, check out my video on that topic. It explains everything in detail. If you enjoyed this story, hit the like button. Comment what you want me to cover next, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.